Hey guys, welcome to Weena Budgets. I'm Edwina, and today we are going to be doing something a little different. Normally I would be posting a stuffing video, a cash stuffing video, but today I decided to go ahead and show you guys my investment portfolio. Now, it's a little baby investment portfolio. I started back in March. I started back in February. With two different ETFs. One I invested in February, one I invested in March. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you exactly what my portfolio looks like at the current moment. We're filming March 25th, so I put this together on the 24th. Things change and fluctuate in the markets, as most of you know, so these numbers may not be the same by the time this video posts, but I figure why not share, especially because I don't see too many videos sharing like this, and maybe this will help inspire somebody who's hesitant or who's interested in getting into investing, show them sort of what it looks like. So let's go ahead and take a look at my two investments. So I have ICLN and I have VOO, which is the Vanguard 500 Index Fund. ICLN is the iShares Global Clean Energy ETF. So ICLN is an ETF. It's comprised of companies that deal with like solar, wind, and other forms of renewable energy. This ETF tracks the S&P Global Clean Energy Index, and VOO tracks the performance of Standard & Poor's 500 Index. So it essentially represents 500 of the largest U.S. companies. I like both of these ETFs. They are highly diversified, which is a very good thing when it comes to investment portfolios. So let's look at VOO first. Okay, so I started investing on the 2nd of February, and my initial deposit was actually $100, but as of March 24th, when I'm pulling these numbers, this was the overview of the fund. So it went down a bit, but my investment goals are not short term. I'm very much in it for the long haul. I'll be holding on to these for quite some time, so I'm not worried about the dips right now because the market overall is just a mess. This is my position. It reflects how much, or rather like how many shares I currently own versus the average cost of a share. So currently I have 0.26274 shares right now, and the average price was $370.59. So you can see the cost. That's how much I actually spent investing into the share, $97.37. I know I said I invested $100. I had previously, it's a long explanation, but previously I had two different funds besides VOO and VTI, and I decided to go ahead and get rid of those slices and just invest the $97.37 into VOO, because I wanted something that was really diversified, and I wanted a fund that had a history, a good history. Now, I just want to explain that I'm learning what all this new terminology means and why it's important. So forgive my explanations if they're not clear. I encourage you all to get out there and do your own research. Because like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. Math and math terms scare me a bit. So that being said, expense ratios. The expense, or basically the cost of maintenance for the fund, which is a percentage of the net assets, specifically for VOO, is low. It's at 0.03%, and I personally think that is not bad at all. The higher the expense ratio, the less return you're going to get over time. So the cost of maintaining that fund is very low at this point. That's a good thing. So the next term that I sort of delved into and researched was dividend yield. So depending on the type of portfolio you have set up, you may want your funds to pay dividends. That's money in your pocket to reinvest, basically the return on your investments. The dividend yield is 2.04% for VOO. From what I've found and read simply by Googling, you want that number to be between 2 and 5%. So that all depends on whatever article you choose, really. Mine is 2.04% at this point. That's good. I'm likely going to reinvest any dividends that I have, that I earn anyway, just based off my long-term investment strategy. Your goals may differ, and this is just what I'm doing at this point in time since I'm nowhere near retirement. And the AUM quickly is just the total value of the investment. It tends to fluctuate daily. It depends on the performance of the asset, which basically is the flow of money in and out of the fund. So that's VOO. Next up, we're going to take a look at ICLN. So let's take a look at ICLN next. This fund's initial investment was $100. I invested another $100 probably about a week later because I want to bet with a friend. So yay me and my gambling ways. So that's why the current value of it is a little bit higher than VOO, because it looks like my net cash flow was $200, which it was $200. So you can see the current value is $196.70. It went down a bit. The markets are going down, which is a good and bad thing, I guess, because you don't want to lose money, but I'm a long-term strategy investor at this point. I just started investing. We're doing this long-term. We're not holding on to this for a year or 2 years. We're going to be holding on to this for a very long time. So we're going to see those markets come up and down. So we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at my position. Right now, I have 10 shares, 10.47962 shares, because the average price for this particular ETF was $19.08. So that's good, and I've invested the $200 in there. So the expense ratio, let's talk about that. The expense ratio is still good. It's not the 0.03% we saw with VOO, but it's certainly not on the high end, like 1%. That's what I found. Like, you don't want the expense ratio be 1%, so it's a little bit less than a half. Because remember, that expense ratio, that's going to reduce your returns. The expense ratio is what's being paid out to somebody else to maintain that fund at the time. So the dividend yield. The dividend yield is just 0.94. It's not a stellar dividend yield, and I honestly didn't know what to make of it as I researched dividend yields. But I still wanted to invest in an ETF that dealt with clean energy, because I personally feel like renewable energy is the most sustainable energy for the future. That's just this one woman's opinion. And I see more electric vehicles out there. People are researching wind and solar. I'm reading articles. I was like, you know what? This is going to be a good investment for the long term. I'm going to go ahead and buy some shares while they're still affordable. So guys, that was my little intro into my portfolio. I hope you enjoy this. I'm going to try to do updates monthly. I thought about incorporating it into my cash stuffing videos, but I think I'm going to keep it separate. If you're looking to invest, my only recommendation is to start now if you haven't already. Do the research. It was intimidating at first, but well worth it. I personally use ETF Database, Investopedia, Yahoo Finance, M1 Finance, which is who I hold my portfolio with, and Google, just to name a few. I'm very much a novice investor, so if any of you have any tips or resources you would like to share, drop them in the comments. You know I like comments. So as always, if you like this content, please subscribe, comment, and like. Bye until next time. Have a blessed week.